Here's my new car. It's a 95 Ford Probe GT with automatic transmission. Now, the first thing the viewer has to understand is that I'm not a car guy. Nearly every time you see me working on this car, there's a friend in the background telling me what anti-seize or VRIS or PCV valve even means. And when they're not, I tend to have trouble. I'm not completely ignorant. I graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering technology at Purdue, but I've never had a vehicle that I felt comfortable taking care of to the extent that I'd like to. 2 cars ago, I had a 2011 front-wheel drive Jeep Compass, which was parked and involved in a head-on collision with a drunk driver. No one was in the car, which was a major blessing. I got $4,000 out of it, and with that, I decided to buy something just straight up cash. So I went to a dealer and bought a 2002 Ford Explorer. Now, I don't have any footage of this because it was such a dead car. It died on the side of the road 2 months after buying it, metal shavings in the engine. Who knew? So I decided to cut my losses and junk it. I got $100 out of it and decided that I never wanted really to buy a lemon again. But in order to do that, I had to gain knowledge and feel comfortable under the hood of the vehicle. So I created this sort of car prompt for myself. I was going to buy a car from the model year in which I was born. That way I would have a little bit of an attachment to it. And this car that I got was the one that I felt the most comfortable fixing up. It looks good, and it has an incredible history. A lot of people know this as the car that was about to replace the Mustang, but not a whole lot of people talk about the hero behind the scenes, or I should say the heroine behind the scenes. Mimi van der Molen was the first woman in history to lead a design team for an American automotive manufacturer. She was on a lot of great projects for Ford surrounding this time, which pioneered interior design. She would make her team wear fake nails so that the design of dials and buttons would be more female-friendly. She even threatened them with having to wear skirts in order to design better vehicle entry and exit. She was a remarkable and persevering woman, and so this car is affectionately named Mimi. So what was wrong with the car? Or what are we going to try to fix in this video? Well, when we got the car, the owner described engine sputter after the engine warmed up. They explained further that it would run fine until the thermostat read normal readings, and then the computer would tell it to do that sputtering noise. The codes they read from the diagnostics computer told them that it was an oxygen sensor, so I said, that's easy enough. True to form, it performed exactly as they described in the test drive, so we got it. And once I got it home and into the school's garage, I should mention that I teach electronics in woodshop at a high school. Once in the garage, I checked the codes for myself. I was getting a code reading of 17 and 41. 17 being the oxygen sensor, and 41 being the first VRIS solenoid. So I went about replacing them. First, I replaced the oxygen sensor, since they were able to point out the location for me. The oxygen sensor that was having issues was the front or left sensor, front of the vehicle or left side of the engine as the driver comes around. It's right underneath the intake thing, so I tried going from underneath the vehicle and found polypropylene blocking my way. I should also cut in and say that I was a quality engineer and program manager for plastic injection molding. So I took the guard partway off, unclipped the original oxygen sensor, and started loosening the sensor. One tip I've discovered is that you should try doing this while the engine is still warm, because it's tightened into a part that can get warm and cold. The metals constricting and expanding will cause it to feel a lot tighter on a cold engine. Came off easily enough. After putting on the anti-seize, which came in the package, I tightened the new sensor into location. One thing to keep in mind is you put the connector on after tightening the sensor, otherwise the wires will twist and strain. I didn't think I had a good enough angle to snap the connector all the way, so I took the intake thing off and discovered that I could have done that at the beginning and not have to worry about taking the stone guard off, but that's okay. It was good practice for when I get to do the first oil change. After assuring the connection was solid, I discovered that the hose called an intake boot was torn. This is normal for something this old, since its only purpose was to direct airflow into the engine. I taped it up with electrical tape and reconnected everything. Since resetting the computer is done by disconnecting the battery and waiting 5 minutes, I decided to use this time to clean the battery corrosion on the connectors and positive battery terminal. All of the internets told me to use warm water and baking soda, so that's what I did. And I scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed faster and slower until it was clean. Then I treated the terminals with Vaseline. It hasn't had a problem in the 2 months since, and it should last for a few more winters. We'll see. Also, I need a battery hold down. With the battery back in the tray, I confirmed the O2 sensor code was cleared and took it for a test drive. The sputter was still there, but was a lot better, as my wife described it.
Before it seemed like it was gonna die. Now it seems so much more manageable.
Next up, the VRIS solenoid, variable resonance intake system solenoid. For the car guy, that's apparently an EGR valve. Getting this part was my first experience with Rock Auto, and let me tell you, getting this part for 25 bucks was a lot better than sourcing it through a brick and mortar for 80 bucks. Side note, apparently there's a fun trick with VRIS solenoids. Solenoids are valves in a way. They direct flow, and in the case of the VRIS solenoid, the vacuum lines either direct air to the EGR vent or not. They are plungers in a way. They direct air by way of an electrical signal to a plunger or valve. These stop working when the valve gets stuck. I've heard that you can unstick them by giving them a greater than 12 volt charge, like from a socket, or even just a power tool battery. So I did my own testing of the part. I checked the resistance across the working VRIS solenoid and a flow of electricity using the diode speaker setting in case the resistance was abnormally high, and cross-checked it with the busted solenoid. There was no resistance and no flow, meaning we had an open circuit. To me, I didn't want to cause an arc in the system within the component, so I went with the replacement route. Replacing these was a pain in the neck. Since the connections have probably never been taken off in 25 years, the plastic was very stiff. Any plastic this old is going to be brittle, so I didn't want to wrestle with it too much, but I did need it to come off. At the same time, it's at an awkward angle, but after a lot of wiggle prying, the old did come off, and the vacuum lines did come off, and the new solenoid could replace it. I did the same electrical test with the new part, and it behaved just the same with a touch higher resistance reading than the working solenoid. After the solenoid was replaced and the battery reset, all engine codes were cleared, but the sputter still remained. I have a couple more ideas, but now is a good time to put a pause on this journey. I made the car better and spent less than $100 doing it, so I'm happy. I learned a lot about the vehicle, which was also good. So next time you see a Ford Probe video from me, we'll be doing the first oil change, fixing some dumb mistakes, and hopefully getting rid of that sputter. I challenge you to learn something new about your car. Read the owner's manual. Did you know that the Ford Probe GT model is recommended to have a 91 octane fuel? Now you do. Keep tinkering. Good luck and have fun. Actually, now we can stop the video.